of course, when you think billionaire, when you think the richest person in the country, it has to be SM's
Yes.
C family group.
Authentic rags to riches story.
Grabe.
And not only rags to riches story, immigrant rags to riches story.
What time in his life do you think was his breaking point na biglang
Yes.
nag-spearhead yung career
Good
niya?
question.
Ano yung business na yun? Or did someone give him that opportunity, right, for him to move up the ladder?
So this guy, Henry C. Alam mo, si John Gokongwei Jr. is siguro, I think, among tycoons in the Philippines, deceased or alive, I think he is number one most brilliant intellectually and IQ. Super strategic mind, super brilliant. I admire him very, very much.
Wilson, I think in this article, you've also mentioned that Andrew Tan, no, basically innovated the realty industry, right?
I remember hearing from him, he wanted the Philippines to modernize the laws encouraging BPOs in the Philippines.
Good morning and welcome back, guys,
Yes,
to
welcome
Pandesal
back.
Talks
Yes.
with Wilson Flores. And
Welcome,
you know,
Lance Cham.
yeah, Wilson, you know what? I just want to share
Yes.
isa sa pinaka nag-trend na video natin so far is your story about Lucio Tan
Wow.
and his
Interesting.
inclination for lifelong learning.
Non-stop learning.
Non-stop
yes.
learning,
Yes.
nag-hire siya ng tutor and whatnot.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
I wanna make our episode all about tycoons out there and
Yes.
backstories that possibly many people haven't heard.
Yes, maybe
Right?
you can choose one tycoon that I could share
Okay,
stories.
okay,
with.
sige. So,
Who do you like
I
to
want to
talk about?
start, Wilson. I
Yes.
saw that you wrote in one of the articles in FWD, which is, I think, an insurance company, right?
Yes, and also Philippine Star columns.
And also in
Through the
Philippine Star
years.
columns, right? That you wrote about the top 10 life lessons from billionaires in the Philippines, right? So
Yes.
siguro, I'd like to start with, of course, when you think billionaire, when you think of the richest person in the country, it has to be SM's
Yes.
C family group. And I
Yes.
remember, Wilson, in our episode 1 or 2, you showed me a newspaper,
Yes.
wrote about the story of, what do you call him? I'm not sure if it's like Manong or, I forgot. But
Yes.
anyways, about the late, Henry C,
Henry C.
right?
Founder of SM, which originally was called Schumart.
Schumart, correct.
And then founder of BDO, Unibank, and now owner also of China Bank.
Right. I think, Wilson, a lot of people know that almost rags to riches yung story niya, right?
It's authentic rags to riches story.
Grabe.
And not only rags to riches story, immigrant rags to riches story.
Can you share to us
Yes.
maybe like some backstories, no, na, shows why it is truly rags to riches story?
He is one of the business tycoons in the Philippines that I really personally admire. Of course, Henry C., John Gokongwei Jr., George T. of Metrobank, Andrew Tan of Mega World, Lucio Tan, several of them. Si Henry C. is very unique, not only because he has been rated number one richest man in the Philippines for decades, and then now his children are combined are the wealthiest family in the Philippines. This guy, Henry C., is very down to earth, very humble.
Kahit ngayon na super,
Yes, before he passed away,
Yup.
extremely hardworking, and very honest and kind person, and also visionary. He has this long-range vision, and I remember he told me, whatever he does in life, he wants to be number one. He has to be number one in that
Nakaka-pressure.
field.
Nakaka-pressure naman yung ganun
parang
na expectation.
It's like a student, when he goes to school, kailangan first honor siya. It's like that.
As Chinese as it gets, right?
Yes, and then he told me pa, that was the way he was as a kid when he was still in China. He came to the Philippines when he was 12 years old. And I could not forget, I read in the magazine, Time magazine, when he and his family was featured on the cover of Time magazine, there was an article in the beginning, editorial note, by the editor describing that when Henry C. was 12 years old, he was sent by his family to the Philippines. His father was already in Manila, in Quiapo district, running a sari-sari store. The father, a
Wow,
small
they
sari-sari store.
started.
Yes, a small sari-sari store. And he said to Time Magazine, when he first saw his father daw in the Manila, he cried daw immediately. And there was no explanation why. So, andun lang nakasulat. Then
Grabe.
weeks later, I met him somewhere. We had a chat over coffee and dinner.
Ang big time mo naman.
I didn't want to.
Ang big time mo, ha?
Because I write
Okay,
for
okay,
Philippine
okay.
Star, a very good newspaper, a column. I was invited. And I asked him, Mr. C, why did you tell Time Magazine you were 12 years old? The first time you saw your dad in Manila, you were crying. Di ba you should be happy? Kasi
Siyempre,
your
nag-reunite
father-
kayo,
yes,
right?
Your dad is like an OFW in Saudi. And then from the Philippines, you went there first time to see the dad after maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Do you know what he said? He saw the life of his father now. He saw the little small sari-sari store and he saw the struggle of his
My
father,
God.
the hardship, napaiyak daw siya. And then I asked him, I could not forget, I asked him this question in the same conversation. You had this small sari-sari store. Yes, that was their first family business now. I told him, Mr. C, most ethnic Chinese, even up to now, the way they operate, they have a store or grocery or hardware or trading company
Car
or
shop.
whatever, car shop, anything, foundry, anything on the first floor. And then the second or third floor, that's where they have their house, the bedrooms where they stay.
Okay.
Many people are like that
Okay.
for decades and centuries. Was your sari-sari store that way? You had the sari-sari store and then you live on the second floor. Then he laughed. We could not afford a second floor, sabi niya. We did not have a second floor. It was a small store, maybe 12 square meters. I don't know, I forgot. He told me 12 square meters or something, or 20.
My God, 12?
And where do you sleep? Where do you sleep at night? You don't have a second floor for bedroom. Where do you sleep at night? No, when we close the shop now, we sleep on the table. They sleep on the table now,
That's
he told
crazy.
me. And now, he is not only, his family is not only the wealthiest and one of the most philanthropic. They have so many donations sa De La Salle
Yep.
University,
Yep.
to University of the Philippines, NBC building, donation. They are not only the biggest shopping mall, SM, and the biggest
Bank?
real estate developer, SMDC,
Yep.
the biggest bank,
Yep.
BDO and China Bank. They are now the biggest landlord in the Philippines, commercial landlord.
Oh my God.
All these malls started out very humble. And another story, not many people know this. Before World War II, the father had a sari-sari store,
Yep.
worked very hard, struggled and worked very hard, saved every centavo, then was able to open a second sari-sari store.
Okay.
During World War II, there was chaos. One sari-sari store got burned, naubos, nothing left. The second sari-sari store was looted during the chaos of the war. The father was so depressed because wiped out,
Yep.
bankrupt, went back to China and did not return anymore. So this guy, Henry C., had to start all over again from scratch.
And yet,
Selling shoes
grabe.
in Carriedo, Manila, kaya shoe mart, and then became very big.
You know, I've always wondered, Wilson, right?
Yes.
What we've seen based on your journalism, right, is the
Yes.
story of how he was, starting off as a very small shoe mart. And also, we also see the perspective of him being that billionaire already.
Yes.
But if you were to maybe, I'm not sure if he told you about
Yes,
it or if
yes.
you were to take a guess, what time in his life do you think was his breaking point na biglang
Yes.
nag-spearhead yung career niya?
question.
Ano yung business na yun? Or did someone give him that opportunity, right, for him to move up the ladder?
Very good question. Before I mention that, he kept growing the business. And one time, I think this is one pivotal time in his career.
There you go.
When he was still young and struggling, he had a rich partner. He had a rich partner. The name was Mr. Cheng. I heard from him. They were two running the small department store together. They had a conflict. They could not agree now. And then they had a conflict, disagreement. So he was forced to separate from
Yep.
the partner.
Yep.
Uh, that is one lesson. If you have disagreement with family members or business partner, better to part ways instead of quarreling nonstop. Because if you quarrel nonstop, you will waste your energy and time. Uh, Instead of earning money, you will become bogged down by quarrels. So he went on his own. That is one pivotal moment. And also, when he started branching out, he branched out to Makati. He opened other areas. I remember him telling me, success is not overnight. There are no shortcuts. It took him decades, years and years and years to build up the success. Maybe 50 years, 60 years.
So mga 50, 60 na siya before he became like a millionaire, billionaire.
No, young pa.
Young pa lang,
He was a
okay.
young person. He became
Okay.
wealthy and
Okay,
kept on
okay.
going. And one thing pa I admire about the late Henry C. and his wife, the way he raised all his children, the way he trained
The siblings, the C
Yes.
siblings, right? Yep.
the way he trained Tessie Sy-Coson, all the children, all of them hardworking, all of them not spoiled brats, not entitled, all of them down to earth,
Yeah.
hardworking, efficient, and they work together
Yeah.
very well.
I remember there's this photo that trended just recently that,
Yes.
Tessie C, after arriving into this airport,
In the province,
in the province, nakatayo lang.
no
walang
bodyguard,
guard, walang
no
anyone.
assistant. Yes.
Kusa
Waiting
lang.
to get
just
my
wait-
luggage.
Naghihintay sa, right? Sa carousel, right?
I'll tell you,
That's-
the photo that went viral and reported by media was taken by my friend
Okay.
and also customer of Kamuning Bakery
Oh, yun
Cafe,
naman.
the Philippine Star columnist and award-winning novelist, Professor Butch Dalisay of
Oh.
University of the
Oh,
Philippines.
yeah, familiar,
He was
familiar.
the one who took the photo, shared it on Facebook. People took the photo and the screenshot, shared it everywhere, and media picked it up.
Yeah.
Professor
And
Butch Dalisay.
that's really the thing about, Miss Teresita. See, like everyone tells me that she doesn't even wear like jewelries, when going to like conferences. and
Workaholic.
Workaholic, diba?
I'll tell you another story to show you how good she is and how great the father was. I asked her this question. I said, Miss Tessie Sy-Coson, most ethnic Chinese families who are in business, they have a small store, they have a grocery store, they usually require their kids to work in the shop. So, di lumaki ang
Okay.
ulo. Hindi maging spoiled brat na nakaupo lang sa kotse, walang ginagawa. So, I said, when did your dad ask you to start working for the family business? She told me, she was 13 years old. The father already asked her to work. And I asked her one question. Was it to work at SM Showmart during weekends, on Sundays, holidays, or during Christmas break, or during summer vacation? Do you know what she told me? No, every day after class. Every day after class, age
Walang
13,
pahinga.
she would go to the
Grabe.
department store, and I heard from other
Kotiam,
people.
kotiam.
Yes, kotiam, exact words. Kotiam. And I heard she was still wearing the uniform of the school. And I even heard, I don't know true or not, I read or I heard some of her wealthy classmates in the same school were so mad. You're wearing our school uniform and yet you're working in the shop. Yun they did.
Grabe. Wisdom being the person that was able to sit down with Miss Teresita C, Mr. Henry C, and you mentioned a few other names, right?
Yes.
Did this ever feel like a winning point in your life as well? That wow, you're now able to write about these people. You're now able to interview these people, right?
Very
Parang do you feel
fascinating.
like that's like your mama I made it moment, diba? Kasi
Oo.
imagine that. Not all journalists can do that.
Yes.
Wilson, right?
Very interesting. I'm very fortunate and privileged to have talked to him. I remember one time, I want to tell you this anecdote. Henry C. one time invited me out of the blue, called up yung secretary niya, Phoebe, called up my office, called up, sabi niya, oh Wilson, Mr. Henry C. is inviting you for lunch today. Sabi ko, sige. Can you tell Mr. C it's already 11:40? I live in Quezon City. I cannot fly over to Makati to have lunch with him. It's impossible. I will get stuck in traffic. Can we choose another time?
Yep.
And he said, sige. If not lunch, he'll just invite you na lang for coffee. Mga 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I think 4 o'clock or
So
something.
gusto niya talaga?
Yes, I mean,
right?
4 o'clock.
Ginawa niya ng paraan.
Yes, and not in Makati, to his newly open mall. He wants to show you his newly open mall. What's the name of the mall? Podium Mall.
Wow.
Newly open daw.
Wow.
He wants to invite you. Saan daw?
Wow.
Sabi niya sa second floor, I remember, second or third floor, Figaro Café, I remember
Wow.
pa. So I went there at 4 o'clock or something. Then, after we went there, nag-chat kami, kwentuhan kami. We talk a lot like this. And then after talking, sabi niya, let's have dinner na. Then he brought me to dinner at Banana Leaf. It
Oh.
was a Tuesday.
Oh.
I remember it was a Tuesday night. And he was very happy. He said, look Wilson, tonight is Tuesday, di ko in Chinese, sabi niya, di ko kinapay di kailangan puno tuwang-tuwa siya, very happy siya.
Exactly.
And then after we ate dinner, he toured me the entire mall. Apparently that day, he asked all the
Journalists.
tenants.
Okay,
all the
tenants, okay.
The owner should be there kasi he wants to tour. I don't know why. Every tenant I went to, the owners were there, pinakilala sa akin.
Grabe.
Wilson, this is the owner of this. Wilson, this is the... ayun. So we toured the whole place. He toured me the entire place. We talked for 5 hours. I remember.
Grabe
With
yan
a 5-hour conversation from coffee and snacks,
Yeah.
then dinner, and then walking
I think
around.
there was just something with him for podium because I think I remembered this was like yung architect nito is like foreigner. It's like super famous guy.
No, I forgot.
Yeah, grabe yung that's why I guess they've invested a lot in podium, di ba?
And now it has...
Look at it. Exactly. Ba one of the ano ka pala doon ha?
I was toured.
Pioneers ka pala doon sa podium. Sa podium.
Toured lang. I was toured lang. I asked him one thing ba. I said, Mr. C, what is your exercise? Because people like to exercise. He said, his favorite exercise, walking and working throughout the malls.
Grabe.
Walking non-stop sa mall daw.
Right.
Management by walking.
Oh my God. I'm sure pag may nakita siyang mall na medyo mabagal, right? Definitely he would like
I remembered.
Take a picture.
I remembered one time I met him in Mega Mall somewhere,
yeah.
and he introduced me to a young guy.
Okay.
He said, "Wilson, if you want to watch movies, look for this guy. This guy in charge of all the movie theaters here in Mega Mall. Ano niya, Steven Tan daw. Ngayon, big boss of the malls.
My God.
President of SM Malls. Very
Oh,
talented guy.
oh wow.
Very talented guy.
Grabe. Well, I'm very happy. I think that aspect of your life, Wilson, sort of enriched your point of view as well, right?
One more thing I could not forget, I want to share with you. One time he invited me to his office around 5 or 5:30. So I went there waiting for him. And then, marami pa siya ginagawa. He was still doing a lot of things. And he up to 6 already, 6 o'clock na. He said, Wilson, sorry please wait a few more minutes. Look at this 6 o'clock, I'm still working. Oh, look, I still have so many things. Very hardworking.
Grabe.
And I remember pa, I was in his office naman one time, years and years ago. 1990s, hala, you would
Yep.
know my age. I was still a college student. I remember the first time I saw him.
Yep.
I could not forget. Every day in college, what I would wear every day, a t-shirt, jeans, blue jeans, and rubber shoes. Every day rubber shoes ako. Sira ulo ako, I forgot. I'm meeting a tycoon, the richest billionaire then. In-invite ako sa office niya. Yun ang suot ko. And he was looking at me. He was staring at my shoes. He was staring talagang, Henry C., the founder of SM, was staring at my shoes like Superman with X-ray vision. I have a feeling like Ini-X-ray vision ng shoe ko, magme-melt ng shoe ko. Parang embarrassed ako. Cheap rubber shoes.
Yep.
Not very expensive, one of those
Yep.
ordinary rubber shoes.
Yep.
He was staring at it. And then I remember, and he told me, he apologized for staring. He said, Wilson, that's my habit. Because his original business selling shoes.
Si Uwe. Yep.
So he looks at everyone. Ano pinipili na itong taong to? He's very curious.
Do you think
I remember.
so he wasn't like judging then? It was
No,
probably like
curious.
habit lang
Parang
talaga.
market study. Parang
Grabe.
market study. Like,
The mind that never turns off, no?
Yes.
Grabe, sobrang business-minded, no?
I'm sure. Tama, isa pa. I remember one time naman, that was also, I was in his office. Actually, invite niya ako 200. Sabi niya, Wilson, I'd like to show you a letter. Anong letter, sir? Pinakita niya sa akin, letter ni Jaime Sobel de Ayala.
Oh, wow.
Thanking him, sabi niya.
Oh, wow.
Here, kasi he was, at that time, he had an office in a building of Ayala. Ayala, he was very wealthy, but he was renting an office in the building of Ayala. Makati Stock Exchange building before. Wala na, that building is no longer there. It was torn apart now. It's a big, tall building na in Ayala Triangle. It used to be Makati Stock Exchange building. He used to have an office there in 1990s. And then he told me, Wilson, look at this letter ni Sobel. Oh. Then he showed to me. Then kinuha ko. Then I read it. Wow, Mr. Sobel was saying, Dear Mr. C, thank you very much for lending us your private plane, which our family used now to go on vacation to Bali, Indonesia.
Grabe. Handwritten pa.
Handwritten or, oh yes, and very nice handwriting. Jaime Sobel de Ayala, the father of Jaime Augusto Sobel de Ayala and Fernando Sobel.
Yeah.
Another letter he showed me one time, there was a fire yata somewhere there. There was some water, nag-apologize. They apologized as landlord or
Yep.
something.
Did you ever wonder, Wilson,
Yes.
why do you think out of the...
One more thing I want to show you, a very fascinating
Okay.
anecdote. When he, as an old man already, maybe 70 plus now or something, suddenly called me up one time. Suddenly called out of the blue corner, Wilson, please come. I want to show you my new house. I was surprised. New house now. He's moving to a new house.
Sana naman kaya to?
After decades now of staying in a condo, he has been staying in a simple condo for decades. Suddenly he has a new house. So I went to this subdivision, Forbes Park.
Wow.
Then I went in. But it was in a nice location, but simple house. Simple, nice house. He toured me in the entire house. What struck me, I remember he toured me the bedroom, kitchen, everything. Then when I was in the bedroom, there was a shower and bathroom. I could not forget, this is one thing all of us should learn from him. In the shower room, bathroom, he has a plastic chair. It's a good idea.
Okay.
Whatever your age, maybe you'd like to sit down or instead of falling off, you have
Okay.
a plastic chair. And I remember pa in his house, simple siya, elegant, simple, nothing extravagant
Yep.
for a tycoon. It has an elevator going to the basement for parking area. Then he told me the story. Sabi ko, you always stay in a condo, you don't like to stay in a house.
Yep.
How come suddenly you have a new house? Then he laughed. He said, his eldest child, Tessie Sy-Coson, sabi niya, stole his check. Then use it to pay for this house now as gift to him. He was happy naman.
Kasi ayaw na talaga gumastos para sa bahay.
Ayaw niya. I think
yeah.
they are caught signatories of the check.
Yeah. Actually, using that story, I want to segue
Simple
as well.
life.
I want to segue to another tycoon, right? And I
Yes.
think you wrote about this or someone interviewed about it, wherein
Yes.
the late John Gokongwei Jr. as well.
One of the most brilliant.
Correct.
Alam mo, si John Gokongwei Jr. is siguro, I think, among tycoons in the Philippines, deceased or alive. I think he is number one most brilliant intellectually
Talaga.
and IQ.
Correct.
Super strategic mind, super
Yup.
brilliant. I admire him very, very much.
In the same sense nga, I think earlier, like you mentioned about the house thing, right? Ang
Ah,
kwento
yes.
mo dito,
Yes.
puro rent. Tinitirhan lang daw niya is rented homes before.
I wrote an entire Philippine Star column about it. He said he is very grateful. His late wife, Elizabeth Yu Gokongwei, from a wealthy family, well-off family, never complained. When they got married daw, sabi niya, I remember he said, he was like a Bedouin ba? Always parang naka-tent lang or something. Parang squatter siya. Because, di ba squatter, always no permanent address. Because through the years now, he has been renting one house after another. Later on in life, when
Correct.
he was no longer very young, he started to have his own home.
Bakit? I mean, even if you have the means, why would you just go into rented homes?
That's what many people say in the Philippines. Many people, pag mayaman, they pour all their money to a fancy
Like, I mean,
nice
look
house.
at Manny Pacquiao,
Yes.
diba? Sa Forbes Park and
Usually,
whatnot, right?
in his case, he said he prioritized reinvestment in his business, not his house. He told me, I could not forget, John Gokongwei told me, John Gokongwei Jr. told me the story when he goes to the big companies in Japan.
Okay.
They have all these small houses and massive giant factories now. In the Philippines now, we have big mansions, small factories now. He said he will not prioritize his comfort, luxury, and house needs. He would prioritize, keep on reinvesting every
Grabe.
centavo, even borrow money pa to expand factories. Not main priority daw, luxury and personal comfort. Just simple lifestyle for him, just for Henry C. Lusiotan, all of them simple, disciplined lifestyle.
Grabe. No. And
Last
that's
time
a
house.
very nice metaphor, ah.
Yes.
Malaking bahay, pero maliit na factory versus
In Japan daw, he saw all these houses are simple, small, but look at their factories now beforehand. Now no more. All the factories are in
Yep.
China. Massive factories now. Japan no longer have factories now.
you know, I think that's where I think Lance Gokongwei right now, who is leading so many companies, right?
Still leads a relatively simple life.
Exactly. Like he's
Oo.
one of the most, I don't know, from what I've read, one of the most likable tycoons out there kasi napaka-humble daw. Actually, my mom named me.
After him?
Lance Gokongwei.
Wow.
Kaya lang,
Your mom
I'm not
is-
even 1% of his, of his kayamanan, right?
Di ba,
So,
you're
wala
naman-
tayong magagawa doon.
di ba, in terms of age, you are also 1% of him.
Yun.
Okay lang.
Marami
You
pang
still-
years to prove, right?
Wow,
But,
very good,
diba,
ah.
I mean, Lance Gokongwei, that's just a representation of a tycoon that's kahit mayaman na, the values are still,
Because of the
Deeply rooted.
parents.
no?
Yes.
Exactly.
Simple life, no heirs, not entitled.
Yep. Okay, so
Yes.
earlier, Wilson, binubulong mo sa akin before we started this that marami kang kwento about the founder of Mega World,
Very
Andrew
inspiring.
Tan.
Very inspiring, yes.
All right, who I think right now is well known to develop Mega World, Eastwood, and whatnot, right?
And the owner of the largest brandy brand in the Philippines, in the world.
Oh,
Emperador.
oh wow.
And-
okay,
Bought the largest, what is this? Fundador.
okay.
The largest brand of brandy, I think, in the world from Spain. He bought the entire factory and all the lands
Yep.
planted to grapes in Spain. Grabe. Fundador, he bought it.
Grabe.
Spain. And he bought several $1 billion worth of Scotch whiskey distillery in Scotland. Incredible. And he bought billions of dollars worth of alcohol factories in Mexico also.
Grabe.
Incredible.
Is Andrew Tan more of a rags to riches guy also, or
Really rags to riches and immigrant also. He is an immigrant who came with his parents to the Philippines as a kid, maybe grade school or high school, then worked for a tycoon. He worked as a young kid, a young person, I heard he worked for the late Leonardo T, who used to be president of the Federation of Filipino Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Inc. But before that, when he was a kid, he was a very hardworking, smart student. And I remember he was telling me a story I could not forget.
okay?
As a kid, he would always ride the jeepney to school, and every day he had allowance. The allowance for his snack and for his public transport, pamasahe. Do you know what he does for this pamasahe with his money for transportation? He saved it by walking to school earlier, every day. He
My
saved
God.
no,
I guess that also increased, prolonged his life, because it's such a healthy lifestyle too, right? Not just
And
cost saving.
and I heard the family had to always apply for scholarship for his studies.
Okay. Wilson, I think in this article, you've also mentioned that Andrew Tan, no, basically innovated the realty industry, right? Like,
Yes.
I think sabi mo, nag-invest siya in IT businesses like IBM
Ah.
and integrated it
Yes.
to how he
Yes,
scaled.
I
Can you
heard.
talk more about that?
I heard. I think Andrew Tan is one person the Philippine economy should thank. Many people don't know this. When the Philippines was not very big in business processing, outsourcing, BPOs, Philippines was very way behind India at that time. And he wanted to lobby for the Philippines to encourage the BPO industry.
Oh, so siya pala yung nag-ano nun.
So he invited the government people
Okay.
to visit India, Bangalore, at his expense to lobby them to copy the laws of India that favoring those BPOs. So he helped that. So it helped his mga developments. So many of his buildings already filled up by BPOs. Yeah, he was a pioneer of many things in real estate. And he's now major stockholder of McDonald's Philippines also.
Oh, wow. Talaga ha? Naglagay
Yes.
na rin siya?
And he also used to own Resorts World, now renamed as Newport Resort.
Grabe. I think with this, I mean, these are just a microcosm of everyone that you've talked to, right, Wilson,
Yes.
na business tycoon, right?
Yes.
Can you share to us maybe, in hindsight, did you see any patterns when interviewing with these people? Is it harder to interview them? Is it easier to interview them? Do you have to speak in Chinese to interview them, right? What do you think? Any patterns lang among interviewing these people as a journalist?
I think speaking in Chinese kasi, the good thing is it's natural.
They're
for
able to
them,
open to you. Yep.
It's a personal thing. Like if you talk to an Ilocano and if you speak in Tagalog or English, it's okay, normal. But if you're Ilocano, that guy grew up speaking Ilocano, and you speak to him or her in her first language at home, it's more intimate, more friendly, more natural. I remember one time I was interviewing the boss of Bell Resources. He was in Tagaytay Highlands, one of the big
Wow.
bosses there.
Wow.
And we were talking the entire night. I was interviewing in Hokkien, in Chinese.
Yep.
The entire conversation, 1 or 2, 3 hours in Chinese. And he had American guests on the side eating. We were eating, he was eating. I was writing down. Every time I interview, I write notes.
Yep.
I jot down I'm very quick in writing. I write down everything we say para it's easy to transcribe. Then the American stood up and went to us. And sorry. I want to ask one question. And then he asked the person, anong question? I'm very fascinated. How come the two of you are speaking in Chinese, but this guy Wilson is writing everything in English?
Oh,
I was
wow,
making automatic translation.
Before
Automatic
before
translation.
DeepSeek, nandyan ka.
Yes. Oy, no kidding. The original DeepSeek. No kidding. He was talking in Chinese. I was writing, translating,
Okay.
transcribing.
Okay.
And then my question, I will write down my question. Easier. So when I go home, just put it there. I had to type.
Kadalasan ba I guess, just give us a visual, like, if you interview these tycoons, does it have to be in like a super private room
No.
where not...
Pwede sa restaurant, pwede
Really?
sa office.
They're okay with that?
Yes, pwede sa car. Pwede sa car.
Really
Or with traveling. Anywhere.
Low maintenance pala mga to.
Oh,
Even...
I always have I always have a lot of paper. Now people could record, di ba? I don't trust recording because sometimes something might happen the
Of course,
recording.
to your phone, you have to...
Then after 1 hour of conversation, hala, erased. Hala, nawala. I remember reading a very famous Italian journalist. Very Italian, famous, or Fanny or something. The last name I forgot. Liza Gokongwei Cheng, the
Uy.
daughter of John Gokongwei,
Yes.
gifted me a book by that Italian journalist of all the interviews of famous people she interviewed, she gave me this book. And I remember reading somewhere before, she interviewed the Prime Minister of Israel, Golda Meir, the very famous lady, for like 3 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, long interview, all tape recorder, naka-tape. Then after the entire tape, nawala. Recording somehow, something went wrong, nawala. So,
It happens.
okay ang recording,
Yep.
not bad. But do you know why I always write
Mhm.
on paper? My favorite yellow pad, kung wala on paper, or any scratch paper, I will write everything. Do you know why?
Diyan na eh.
Easier to transcribe. Do you know why easier to transcribe? I'll tell you why easier to transcribe. When you tape everything, for example, I interview someone, 3 hours to 5 hours conversation. So that's 3 hours worth of tape.
Papanoorin mo ulit.
So can you imagine if that's 3 hours minimum or 5 hours?
Papakinggan mo ulit.
So I have to. It will not take me 3 hours to 5 hours. Yung 3 hours will take me 5 to 6 hours. Because every time I open, I write, then close, then rewind, then listen again, then listen
3
again.
to 5 hours na naman.
It will take me the entire half day just to listen and list down. But if I jot down in my fast handwriting and translate it already simultaneously, what will happen is I just have the desktop beside me, all the papers. I just type diretso, it's already a column. Faster.
Grabe.
It will take hours pa rin, pero faster.
Okay. So I think, Wilson, I want to close with this question, right?
Yes, yes.
Regarding our Business Tycoon episode. Can you share to us, if you were about to interview these tycoon level people,
Yes,
mas naghahanda ka ba? Right?
very good question.
Do you prepare 10 times more, right? Or is there nerves out there,
Wala,
right?
wala.
Wala naman.
I just have casual research kasi I don't want to look like naman
Parang
walang alam.
Okay.
Alam mo, like,
Okay.
like all over the news, he bought a building or he bought a company, then you're clueless. Then you will ask, what are you doing now? What's happening with you? Sabi ko, parang ba ito? Sayang oras ko. It's all over the news.
Right.
Or parang, I'm wasting my time. I'm talking about the most obvious things that are there.
Yep.
I want to ask things that are not in the paper, not in the news. And even many off-the-record stories. I've been told a lot of off-the-record stories also.
Fascinating stories, fascinating guy. Thank you so much, Wilson, for sharing. I think that's a good 4 to 5 tycoons just
Yes.
from your point of view. Thank you for showing us, I think, the power of journalism as well. Makita natin, right? You're able to tell these stories years even,
Yes.
diba? After you've interviewed these people. All right, thank you guys, and we hope to see you
Thank
again
you.
in our
And-
next episode.
and let's have merienda na.
Ano to?
Cream loaf bread.
Cream loaf
Cream
bread.
loaf
Okay.
bread. Very soft and very nice to eat and healthy by the 86-year-old Kamuning
Wow.
Bakery Café.
But this is not
Quezon City.
drenched in milk, in milk or cream, right? It's just called cream because it's white.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Creamy and milky and wonderful breads.
Okay. Everyone, thank you, and please give it a go.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
guys.